Goeiemorgen, good morning, Sani Bunani, buongiorno, come sta? Today I'm going to show you how to make this quick and easy handbag. So there's a pink one, and there's like a grayish purple one. They're not all exactly the same size as I was experimenting. They can be made with this shoulder strap attached, like crocheted onto the handbag, or with a detachable crochet shoulder strap. The strap can be either crocheted, or for this one I used a like chain wire for a much longer strap. It also means you can have different strap lengths by changing the number of chains, or the number of chains to them. So the one we'll be making today has a shoulder strap directly worked onto it, but I will show you how to make the chain separately. Please note that when I crochet I use UK terminology, but when I remember I will mention the US equivalent and of course Afrikaans. In order to make this handbag you only need to know how to make a chain stitch, UK double crochet and a slip stitch. For the shoulder strap you will need to know how to make a double treble, and that's all you need to know. I have a separate detailed video for each one of these, so if you need any help just click on the links in the description. To make this bag you will need a ball of T-shirt yarn plus a secondary color for the detailed stripe. If you live in South Africa you can check out your local Agrimark or whatever agricultural cooperation you may have around, as they might sell these balls of T-shirt yarn for less than a craft store would. And no, don't look for a yarn section in your Agrimark. Farmers use the T-shirt yarn to bind up plants since it is soft and stretchy and it won't damage the plants. Depending on the size of handbag you may get 2 bags from one ball of yarn. Also depends on the thickness of the yarn and the tightness of your crocheting. If you decide to use the detachable shoulder strap, you will need to, what are they called, handbag clasps. You will also need a 10mm crochet hook. And then lastly, for this decorative beaded fringe, I have some wooden beads. Any beads that you prefer. Please do make sure that they have a big enough hole that you can get the T-shirt yarn through there. To make the bag, we will make a chain stitch, which is the base of the handbag, and that is where you can adjust the size, making it bigger simply by making more chain stitches, which will give you a wider bag. And then we work in double crochet in rounds all the way. Change the color, more rounds. At the end of the last round we will move over into making the handbag strap, and then lastly use some of the yarn ends of the end of the work together with a few extra strands of yarn to make the decoration, if you so choose. All that said and done, let's get started. The free written PDF can be downloaded from my Ko-Fi page. Link is in the description below. To start, make a slip knot and fasten around the hook. Because the T-shirt yarn is really rather stretchy, you kind of have to pay attention to your tension all the time. Then chain 10. The slip knot does not count and the loop on the hook does not count as a chain. So to make a chain, yarn around the hook. Finally, yarn around the hook and pull that yarn through the loop on the hook, and that is one chain stitch made. 1, 2, 3, 9, 10. Especially on the foundation row, do not make your stitches too tight. And yes, I know this looks very small for a handbag, but it will sort itself out in time. The T-shirt yarn stretches and we will be working into it. Okay, 10 stitches for the foundation row. For round 1, there are many different ways that people work into chain stitches, and also different ways when you are going to work on both sides. I have experimented with them all, and the most practical for the T-shirt handbag to make sure that there's not gaps at the bottom is the following. Chain 1, this will be the turning chain for the UK double crochet or cord pinky, and it does not count as a stitch. Into the first chain, so that is the loop on the hook. That chain is the one that does not count. It is the turning chain. This one here is the first chain that counts. It has 2 loops, like a front loop and back loop. And if you turn over, there's also a back bump. We will never be working into those back bumps. They will help to keep the bottom of the handbag covered, so it's not holes. We will first work 1 row in the one side of the loops, turn, and then work the rest of the round on the other side, the other loop of the same stitch. Okay, so loop on the hook, turning chain, first chain. We will make 1 double crochet. Insert the hook, yarn around the hook, pull it through. There's 2 loops on the hook, yarn around the hook and pull through both. I don't have anything resembling stitch markers that could fit into this thick yarn, so I'm just using a different color to keep my place. Okay. This marks that one is the first double crochet. It seems obvious now, but when you have gone all around and come back, it's not always as obvious anymore. Into the next chain, insert the hook, yarn around, pull through 2 loops, yarn around and pull through both of those loops, another double crochet. Continue to make 1 double crochet into each chain, but only the back loop of each chain, or the top loop. It's really hard to give the loops prepositional names in the chain stitch. I find it easier as well to, when you pull through both loops, to pull it through the one first and then pull it through the other one. When you start, the chain will curl up quite a lot because of the tension, but once again, don't worry, it will sort itself out. So far, 1 double crochet into each chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. In the last chain, we will be making a total of 3 double crochets. So the first one will go on the top loop as usual. That is 1. Then in the same stitch, that one was there in the top loop. There is what was the bottom loop, and there is what was the back loop. So there's the one, and there's the back loop. We will not be working into the back loop. For the second double crochet in the same space, we will insert in the front loop so that the stitch kind of straddles over the knot, and keep the knot towards the back because the back will become the inside of the handbag. And then into that same loop, so this is the stitch we've just made, that's one leg of the stitch, there is the loop we have worked into, like so. That is where we worked into, so we will work into that again for the third double crochet in the same stitch. And I'm also going to work over this beginning yarn tail so that there's no ends to weave in afterwards. So there you have 1, 2, 3 stitches into that one chain stitch, which was the last one coming back, but actually it was the first one we made. Now it's easy again. For each next stitch we will only work 1 double crochet into each chain until we get to the other side. And it's also easier to know which loop to work into. You basically work into the first one that you see, not into both, because then the gap in the middle becomes too big. And I am working over the yarn tail as well. So 1 double crochet in that stitch. So we leave this part of it, and we will work into there. If you have trouble finding it, look at this double crochet from the other side. There's its 2 loops. There's the 2 legs of the double crochet. In some patterns you would work into there for the chain, but it will make too big a gap because the T-shirt yarn is so thick, so we will skip 1 strand and only work into the 1 strand. And I'm working over this. Again, there's the double crochet of the other side. There's the 2 legs of the double crochet. Normally we would work into there, but now we only work into the 1 strand, so the other strand can keep the hole covered. Make sure the end of the yarn tail goes towards the inside of the bag. And now you can see why that little bit of yarn to show us where is the start actually becomes a good idea, because now it is not quite as obvious anymore. Okay, almost done. Okay, I'm going to throw this on the floor because okay, we are now at the first chain. So there's the double crochet we started with, there's the 2 legs, and it goes in here, which makes that the first chain. Since we already have 1 stitch into that chain, we will need 2 more to also have 3 chains going around the corner. And as usual, only through the 1 strand. One. Okay. 1. And now I'm going to work in between there, so the holes are spaced out, not that kind of spaced out. And we will finish this round with a slip stitch into the first double crochet. And that will leave us with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 stitches on the one side of the handbag, ending there. 1 that will be the edge, this narrow side of the handbag. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 stitches on the other side, 1 into each chain, and the 1 for the side. The slip stitch does not count in the stitch count, so there now is a total of 22 stitches. That is the end of round 1. For round 2, we will have increases around the sides and 1 double crochet into every stitch along the 2 sides, the long sides, underneath both loops every time. For round 2, we start with 1 chain stitch that will not count as a stitch. I know there are many other ways to make joins and work in the round, but for the T-shirt yarn I found this to be the fastest, easiest, and yet with a good enough look at the end. Then into this chain stitch is the turning chain, and it does not count as a stitch. Then into the first stitch we make 2 double crochets, 1, and immediately we mark this one as the first chain, with our yarn scrap. And into the same place, and if you can't find your same space, there are the 2 legs of the last stitch going in there in the same space. Two stitches. For the rest of the side, there will be 1 stitch into every double crochet. So 1 yoke double crochet into every double crochet for the next 8 stitches. One, 2, and 8. So for round 2 so far, 2 double crochet in the first stitch, 1 double crochet each in each of the next 8 stitches, and then we come to the 3 double crochet which were all made in the same chain stitch. For these 3, at the end we will make 2 double crochet into each stitch. One, 2 double crochet into the first of these 3 stitches, 1, 2 double crochet into the second of the 3 stitches, and 1, 2 double crochet into the third of these stitches. So we've rounded the corner now, and now again for the next 8 stitches, 1 double crochet into each double crochet. 1, 2, and 8. If we look at the end of the round, that will be the first stitch we've made. There where we have the piece of yarn to help indicate. This here is the chain stitch with which we've started the round. That is the slip stitch with which we have connected round 1 together, and does not count as a stitch either, which leaves us now with the last 2 stitches of the round. So for these 2 we will also make 2 double crochet into each stitch. One, 2, and in the next one, 1, 2. We now need to join the round. Before joining, it helps to shape the bag so that the slip stitch for joining doesn't stretch too far. Remember that the side facing you will be the outside of the handbag, and there you can see boat form. So skip the slip stitch from the previous round, skip the chain stitch with which the round have started, and into this first stitch where our impromptu stitch marker is, we will join round 2 with a slip stitch. The 3 stitches on either end have 2 double crochet per stitch, and the 8 stitches on the long sides have 1 double crochet per stitch. That is the end of round 2. It is also the end of all increases. So for round 3 and all following rounds, we will only make 1 double crochet into each double crochet. To start this round and all future rounds, chain 1, that does not count as a stitch, and into the same stitch where the slip stitch was made, make 1 double crochet. After making the double crochet, replace the impromptu stitch marker. I've never seen stitch markers big enough to actually fit around T-shirt yarn, so there you go. So that is the first stitch. At the end of round 2 we would have had 28 stitches, which means at the end of round 3 and all future rounds we should also have 28 stitches. So bashing the camera again. 2, with the tension of working into the foundation chain over and all the increases as well, it's kind of natural that the tension of working with the T-shirt yarn might decrease slightly and your stitches will become a little bit looser. That is perfectly fine. It will help to give the bottom of the handbag a bit of an outward shape, and it will just make it easier to work the other stitches into. Keep working around. 1 double crochet, UK double crochet into every stitch. A UK double crochet is equivalent to a US single crochet, or in Afrikaans 'n kort pinkie. So 1 kort pinkie in elke kort pinkie van die vorige ry. 25, 26, 27. So the next one will be the last stitch for round 3. Which leaves us with the slip stitch, which is not a stitch that counts for the row, and the chain stitch, which also doesn't count. So lastly, into the first stitch of round 3, work a slip stitch to finish the round, and that is the end of round 3. So for round 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, it will be exactly the same. For all of these rounds, work exactly as round 3. I will join you again at the end of round 10, just before we do the last stitch, so we can do the color change together. I'm over at the end of round 10. This will be, if we count backwards, there's the first stitch, the chain stitch, the slip stitch, and so this will be the last double crochet for the round. And this is where we will do the color change. Do not fasten off this one. So we're going to do a color change for 2 rows and then change back to the main color for the edge. And so since it is much harder to work in yarn ends on the T-shirt yarn, and it's only 2 rows, we will just keep this one on the inside of the bag. On the last part of the last double crochet, we simply swap over to the secondary color, it will still, the stitch will be completed in the original color, but the second color will be on the hook. At this point, I like to tie a knot, if I can remember how to tie a knot, because the t-shirt yarn is so hard to work in, and this is the best way for me to ensure that nothing will get undone through usage. There's my second ball of yarn, which will have to go to the floor now. Then work the slip stitch. Make a slip stitch to fasten off round 10 for round 11. We basically work it the same way as we've been working round 3 still. One chain stitch that does not count as a stitch, a double crochet into that same stitch where the slip stitch was made, and one double crochet for each stitch of the row, the round. And when we get to the end of this round, slip stitch to the first stitch, just like we've been doing all along, and work another round in the secondary color, and I'll meet you at the end of round 12. I'm at the end of round 12. Again, there is the initial chain stitch, there's the slip stitch, and so this will be the last double crochet to work into. Pull up the loop, stop there. In this case, I'm going to leave quite a long yarn end. I'm leaving about, like, I think this is 20 centimeters. But we'll see in a minute if that was too much. And then complete the stitch. There. Then complete this. Complete the stitch with the first color. Just leave that long yarn end in there. Skip the slip stitch. Skip the starting chain and join into the first stitch of the row with a slip stitch. Wow, did I work that tight? See, you can see if you do the slip stitch in the alternate color with a t-shirt yarn, because it's so thick, then it gives a more even color change. That was the end of round 12. Now it's time for round 13. As with every other round, start the round by doing a chain stitch that does not count as a stitch, and into the first double crochet, which is the same one where we attached with a slip stitch, we make another double crochet, and then one double crochet into each double crochet of the previous row, and I'll join you at the end of round 13. I am at the end of round 13. Okay, and then into the first double crochet of the round, make a slip stitch, because the t-shirt yarn is rather stiff, your back may be a little bit deformed, but just look at where your initial foundation row is and gently stretch it into the right shape. Now this is the point where you should decide how you want to do the shoulder strap. Do you want to do it continuous with the bag so it is attached forever, or do you want to have a detachable shoulder strap like this? Detachable shoulder strap where you can hook it into your bag like this. So I'm going to show you both. For this bag I'm going to show you the continuous strap, and then I need to make a separate strap that's detachable for this one that doesn't have a strap yet. So for the shoulder strap, you want to find as close as possible the edge of your bag so that you can do a crochet 3 together. I think we will work into this one, and that one. That should form the edge of the bag, and then you can count 11 stitches to get to the other side of the bag, and then also identify the middle 3. To start the shoulder strap, remember we are working into these 3 stitches to make a double treble 3 together. Make sure the loop on the hook is relatively loose, and then just work backwards and directly insert the hook into the previous stitch. Yarn over the loop and pull up a loop. You will have 2 loops on the hook. This here will look like a little knotty bit, but it's fine. Yarn over, pull up a loop again, as if you're crocheting a normal double crochet. It will be a bit tight because we have twisted around here. Now if you look at the stitch, there is the 2 loops. There are the 2 loops as normal of a double crochet, and here are the 2 legs that the double crochet stand on. We will now insert the hook into this front leg of the double crochet and make another double crochet through that leg. Insert the hook, yarn over, draw up a loop. There's 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through both. You now have what would be a standing treble crochet, but since we want a double treble, we need to make it stand even taller. So again, into the front leg, so there would the stitch be, into this front leg, insert the hook, I keep on either going out of the viewfinder or bashing against the tripod. Okay, yarn around, so there's 2 loops on the hook. If we wanted to complete the stitch, that's what we would do, but we don't want to complete the stitch because we want to do a double treble 3 together. So we will leave 2 loops on the hook, then yarn over twice and into this confused knot here. We will work into and draw up another loop. Oh my goodness, this is rather tight. Spillicky. So there's the two loops that remained of the first stitch. There's the 2 yarn overs, and there's the loop we just drew up. So yarn over, pull through 2 of those. There's 4 loops on the hook now. Yarn over, pull through 2 more. So we have 3 loops remaining. The one we started off with, an extra loop from the first double treble, which was the standing double treble, and an extra loop from the second double treble. Leave it like that, yarn over twice again, and into the next stitch, insert the hook, yarn over. There are 6 loops on the hook at the moment. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, until there are 4 loops on the hook. The one we started with, first double treble, second double treble, and third double treble, each added 1 loop. And to complete this, yarn over and pull through all the loops. And there you have double treble 3 together. I'm sure you could just immediately start with chain stitches, but to me this just kind of feels more secure for a handbag strap. Now you'll be making chain stitches, and you make chain stitches for as long as you want the shoulder strap. It's completely up to you. Measure it against yourself or the person you're making it for, and make chain stitches until you have the desired length of shoulder strap. So it turns out that for this one I have made 60 chains, but since this t-shirt yarn is slightly thinner than the one I'm currently using, I made 50 change. I made 50 chains for this one. Okay, now make sure that the chain is not twisted. We are going to make 3 double trebles together on the other side of the handbag. So you can either from the bottom follow up the side of the handbag, or you can count the number of stitches in between, yarn around the hook twice, insert the hook, yarn over, draw up a loop. Yep, there we have 4 loops on the hook now. Yarn over, pull through 2. The first one, the loops feel a bit loose since you're just like attaching it out of nowhere. Yarn over, draw through 2, again without bashing the tripod, and again you leave 2 loops on the hook, the one we started off with, and 1 to indicate that we have done 1 double treble. Yarn over twice, insert the hook into the next stitch, make another double treble, but do not complete it. So 1, and 2. There's now 3 loops remaining on the hook. Time for the last double treble. Yarn over twice. Okay, yarn over twice. Insert the hook, yarn over, draw up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2 loops. Once. I feel like a 10mm crochet hook should be longer than other crochet hooks, because there's just not enough space to work. And yarn over, pull through 2 loops a second time until there are 4 loops on the hook. The one we started with, 1 extra for the first double treble, 1 extra for the second double treble, and 1 extra for the third double treble. So yarn over and pull through all 4 loops on the hook, 1 loop at a time if necessary. Then we will make 1 more loop to kind of secure this whole double treble thingy, so it stays in place. And to fasten off, we will make 1 more double treble and cut. Hook out and tighten that last chain stitch. It makes a little knot, and then I just use the hook because there's no way this is going through any kind of sewing needle that I have. Just use the hook and work a bit of this yarn end into the shoulder strap and cut very close to the edge, and if you pull it tight it will pull back a little, hiding the end. There is the one option for shoulder strap. I will now show you how to make the shoulder strap using these, which really isn't all that much different, except you don't have these double treble parts. To make the detachable shoulder strap, we start with a slip knot on the hook, insert the hook into the fixed part of the buckle, and attach it. We're going to directly attach it using a double crochet. So to do that, insert, yarn over, pull the loop through the buckle. You have now kind of like one loop on the hook and one through the buckle, and complete the stitch through both loops. We're going to hide away this yarn end while we're working, and so because it's kind of in the front now, I'll pull it towards the back. And from now on, we just make chain stitches again, just like with the other version. Chain stitch, but we're hiding this piece of yarn as we're going. Chain stitch. Now you just keep on making chain stitches until you have the shoulder strap as long as you want it. I'm back. I've made 55 chains for this one. Since there's no double trebles to give it that little bit of extra height, now it's time to attach the other one. Again, we'll just make a, what's the word? We'll make a UK treble crochet around it, as is. Insert, draw up a loop through that buckle, and finish it off with a double crochet. So pulling out on both sides. Again, we will make one chain to secure and one chain to fasten off, then cut the yarn, hook out, pull tight, really tight, and again we will work in that yarn end. Wow, I really don't have words today. We will work in that yarn end. If anyone knows of, like a much better way to fasten off with T-shirt yarn or work in T-shirt yarn, please let me know. I mean, this works, and it's the only way I have done it, but I'm always open to learning better ways to do stuff. So the detachable shoulder strap can now be attached before it is detached, simply by hooking it around two of the loops on a stitch there. Make sure it is not twisted. The other side. Back to this one. You can now choose if you want this for your finishing touch. That's what I'm going to assume and just do it. So for this one I've used some of both colors of yarn. For some of the others I only used one color. For example, this one I've only used the contrasting color. And I think that's what I'm going to do on this one as well. Cut the length. This is approximately 30 centimeters of yarn. Remember this piece of yarn that we left in here? We're going to bring that back into play again. And the way we're going to do that is, first of all, just to bring it a little bit closer, we're going to insert the hook somewhere around here, which is going to be really hard to do on camera without bashing into things. Just insert it. This very specific place doesn't really matter. You just want to bring it up towards the edge of the bag and slightly inwards. Okay, so now it's like just a little bit closer to here. Okay, so fold the yarn in half. Insert the hook and just pull that middle. It doesn't have to be the exact middle, just pull it forward until it makes a loop. Leaving you with this loop and the 2 strands from the other side of the loop, as well as this one. Now keep all of those out of the way and use this yarn end from crocheting, not the loose bit, and just pull it to the front. Now using your fingers, open up wide and pull through. That one, it won't go any tighter than that. It's just there to be in the same place as the others. These two, however, when you pull them through that loop, will make it will tighten into a very secure knot. There you have your secure knot. Secure enough. With 3 strands of T-shirt yarn. Now this T-shirt yarn is a bit too thick for what we want to do. So if you look at the T-shirt yarn, it's basically a wide strip of fabric. Now you can take your scissors and decide how many beads you want to add. I'm going to go for 12, which means I need to cut each strip of fabric into 4. You can use more or less beads. If you want more beads and you don't want to cut the fabric in such narrow strips, then you can add more strands of yarn in this part. But for each of these, we will cut it. And this actually does not make the most sense. I'll explain now. All the way until there where the knot is. It might be much easier to slightly shorten these before starting cutting. I like to leave them all in different lengths. So there, one there, and then one a little bit shorter. Cut each strip into 4. So I've cut that one in half. I'll cut it in half again, all the way to up there. Do this for each one of these until you have a whole bunch of these long, thin little bitties. I have cut those 1, 2, 3 strands of yarn down into 12 thinner strands. And now for each strand of yarn, I'm sure you could use a beading needle for this, but my beading needle is really too fine. So I just kind of twist the T-shirt yarn until it makes a fine point. And that is why I like to use beads with big holes. So you can just slowly but surely push them inside. When it emerges from the other side, pull it out. And then about a centimeter from the end, around a centimeter from the end, make an overhand knot, which will act as a stopper knot so the bead doesn't slide out. So there, pull it tight. So the bead won't slide out. Do that for each of them. And there we have it. That's why I like them to have different lengths. Remember, the free PDF pattern is available on my Ko-Fi page. The link is in the description. And so until next time, have fun crafting.